The Flashforge 5 and Pro has great things going for it, like swappable hot ends, a great UI on the touchscreen, and printing in the fastest segment of pre-built machines. All at a really competitive price, but it's not perfected yet. Let me explain. Don't get me wrong, the 5M Pro is becoming a workhorse here at home. It's printing both large and small parts with great finish at high speeds. And the filtering, although a bit loud, it's perfect to filter out particles that I don't want here at home. So before we dig deeper in the few less optimal experiences I had, let's quickly go over the specifications. So this is a 220 by 220 by 220 build volume with a single direct driver extruder, 1.75mm. It's reaching 280 degrees. I'm sure there's swappable hot ends that are hotter. And it has travel speeds of 600mm per second with an acceleration of 20,000mm per second squared. So the actual printing speeds, which are not the marketing 600mm values, are around 150 to 300mm per second. Still really fast, on par with the rest of these types of 3D printers. So when you pair that up with the enclosure and both internal and external filtered ventilation, you actually get a quite professional oriented machine. The build plate is plain with a flexible sheet that you can turn around, and the heated bed can go up to 110 degrees, and the 0.4 default nozzle can easily be swapped with a 0.6mm that actually came in the box. So you get this fantastic touchscreen with a great user interface and tons of information. This is also where you do a vibration compensation and you set up your machine. This is actually something I really enjoy with this machine. It's a great startup procedure. It's even large enough that I can type in the Wi-Fi password. Yeah, so this machine has both Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and normal USB stick if you want to use that. So the 5M Pro has both a camera for Wi-Fi and monitoring that is really fast. The frame rate is very nice. You can actually see what's happening. The time-lapse feature are okay. It also has true automatic leveling, sensors for filament extrusion or filament placement, temperatures, and even particles. So we've already done the unboxing in a separate video. You can check that out down below or maybe in the corner. I don't know where it's located. But basically you get everything you need to get going, and it's quite easy to actually get going. But as I mentioned there, I had some issues with the first prints running, especially with adhesion. So something is up with the adhesion. I had a few instances where the adhesion was just bad. It wasn't good enough. So I started troubleshooting, I washed the bed. I even tried some different glues from different manufacturers like a Printer Pro and Magic Glue, but I still had issues sometimes. And then I noted that only when I do the printing from the USB stick, I get the auto leveling function. So I always tick that because it's so fast and why not do a leveling? But when I send a print using Wi-Fi from FlashPrint, I don't get this option. So it appears that the Wi-Fi transfer might be using some other auto leveling that is done in the past, or maybe from the startup and configuration of the machine, something that is on board instead of running a new auto leveling. And I based this on that it feels like the onboard printing seems to have a different adhesion and does it very, very well, while the sent one is completely different and sometimes quite bad. But although I found out that it may be something with the Wi-Fi, I have done some changes in the slicer just to get adhesion perfectly. So you can do these changes as well if you need to, but basically I had to lower the printing speed for the first 3 or so layers. I also reduced the C offset for the first layer, so it's a bit smaller, so it prints a bit closer to the print bed. This may result in some elephant's foots, but for me that's worth it for the perfect adhesion that it gives. And also you can remove the elephant foots with this tool super easily. Link down below. This lacking of auto leveling through Wi-Fi is probably something very easily fixed in a firmware update, and there has been an update while I'm recording this. I'm not sure if it has been fixed. So when I fixed this with the adhesion, this bad boy is running really, really good. I printed the OpenRC F1 2023 version that is fantastic. The Core XY is superb when it comes to some of these very difficult angles, and not using support and still getting a beautiful finish on molars that are, like, you know, barely supported up in the air. Your bed slinger 3D printer, I dare you to do this as good. So swapping nozzles. For the F1 car, I wanted to swap out the bottom plates to make them a little bit stronger. I wanted to swap out the nozzle using the 0.6mm. This procedure went super fast. I'm actually impressed on how easy it is. But in my YouTuber kind of way, of course, I was focusing on filming, getting the right angles, and I actually missed some of this tactile click. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but I actually didn't click in the 0.6mm nozzle completely. It was still enough so the machine detected it, which is kind of weird. But in hindsight, I noticed that the temperature was like -50. So I should have noticed, or I should have got a prompt that said your nozzle isn't in completely. So when I printed, I kind of tore up the pay sheet on this bed. So that's a good learning lesson, that you really need to feel the click, and there is a prompt telling you to make sure that the nozzle is in, don't ignore that. Actually check that it is in, control the temperature. But again, I think I should get some sort of warning. I'm not sure if the machine can detect which nozzle is inside, but it should register if you have changed it, that you do like a procedure to check that everything is all right. But after that, when I clicked it in correctly, I did an auto level, it printed with 0.6 beautifully, like nothing. It was just go ahead and it's running normally. So being able to swap the complete hot end in like 30 seconds, that's a really good feature. So yeah, you're gonna see that mistake in the rest of the prints where the bed is kind of weird. I could swap it over, but I want to show my mistakes. So I was wondering, does this machine have hidden enterprise features? I tried to experiment a bit to see if I could make this printer as good as the competition that is like $1,200 or more expensive. So for example, some of these enterprise competition have heated chamber that is actively heated and actively controlled. I was wondering, since we have a temperature sensor, we have internal and external ventilation, maybe we could heat the bed to 110, let the temperature rise inside the machine, and when it gets to a certain temperature that we want to keep, which you can actually set in Orca Slicer. There's a chamber temperature settings for each filament. If it reaches that temperature, maybe we could like start to ventilate out air and keep that temperature, for example, 45 or 50 degrees in this machine. I tried it, I saw the temperature rising, but the fan doesn't kick in. So I mailed the support and asking about if this feature, if there's something I can control in the G-code, is there somewhere I can set this chamber temperature? Because when I slice in Orca, I can see it in the file, but I don't think the machine is reading that file. So I got a reply back. Turning on inner cycle or outer cycle requires your own manual choice. Usually, when the chamber is heated during printer, the inner cycle will automatically turn on. And if a certain detection of substance inside reaches a threshold, a red icon will appear on the screen to warn you. And you will need to manually switch the outer cycle mode. It cannot be controlled by software for the time being. That's the important part. And no corresponding G-code can be provided. End of quote. So I'm decoding this as the sensor inside is mostly for particles and maybe not temperature, or maybe both. But on the screen you will get a notification when you have too much particle, I guess for actually ventilating or filtering, that you should turn on the external ventilation as well. You can do that manually, but I don't think that's a great way forward. I'm hoping that Flashforge has everything they need from me or from everyone else to actually make this an automated feature. I mean, you could add a code in the change layer, for example, change layer G code to read the temperature sensor, maybe push the fan to activate. That would be very nice if you could allow us to do that. Then this sub $600 3D printer will actually compete with like $1,500 to $3,000 printers in that regards. So how about this technical enterprise printing then? Well, I started with some old ABS, because why not? This is more than 5 years, probably even 9 years old ABS. I dried it obviously, and it actually printed very well. I'm still struggling a little bit with the profile. I didn't find the default ABS from Flashforge to work. This is not Flashforge filament. I had some heating issues down below, but other than that, it's quite nice for ABS. The same goes with ASA and PTFG. Everything works very well. You have to kind of control the cooling a little bit. It's very easy to cool too much when you run these engineering materials, which results in warping. You may want to preheat the machines a little bit before you start printing them, so yeah, the area around is a bit hotter, but it works very well for those materials as well. Just need a little bit more tuning. If you buy the Flashforge materials, maybe it works outside the box. I don't have those materials, so I can't test it for you. Okay, so review conclusion. We're already there. At the time of filming, this 5M Pro cost $599, and you have the regular 5M that's only $399. But I would recommend you to check the latest prices down below. There's affiliate links, so you can use those if you want to. If there's a dealer coupon code, I'll try to add it. So the non-5M Pro, which doesn't have the enclosure, doesn't have the auxiliary fan, doesn't have the cameras, it's quite valuable at a low price. But I would suggest that when the Wi-Fi leveling works, this is a quite loud machine. The fans running like all the time, it's quite loud. They have the silent mode, but I mean, it's fans, it's physics. If you want a cool PLA, you have to run a lot of air on it. So you want the 5M Pro with a camera and closer, so you can kind of control it in some other room, maybe on your attic, maybe in a garage, somewhere else. So for that, I would really recommend going the $200 extra for the 5M Pro. Back to the 5M Pro, I'm really happy with it. Sure, 30 to 50mm more build volume in each axis would be very nice. But other than that, there's really nothing I'm missing that can't be solved in software. This hot end solution is beautiful. Sure, it's slightly more expensive in the long run, but it's also so much more reliable, so much more easy to use, and you just swap it out, especially if you're a business. The uptime that you get with these ones are fantastic. It's honestly a big factor just being able to swap in a 0.8mm, run some fat PGG layers, and just do that without issues. And when you compare this printer to the current competition, it's actually very fast. It prints in normal speeds very fast. You can always crank it up a little bit, but even for the normal ones, it's faster than some competitors, which is very nice. It does, however, lack the multicolor, multi-material features, but it's running Clipper as far as I can understand, which means that there are add-ons, like the ones I'm linking down below, that might change that for the future. So I wouldn't be that discouraged to get one of these machines just because you don't have AMS, because I think there will be options. I'm also very happy that Flashforge, the brand behind successful printers like the Finder and the Adventurer 3, which I have up there thanks to 3D Prima, which all were very successful entry-level and like hobbyist 3D printers, that they have now entered this current speed generation with a very easy to use, very competitive 3D printer at a great price. I'm very happy that they have done it because they are a brand with routines for both industrial grade support and like hobby support. They have done this for years. They know how to take care of customers, which is nice. So yeah, Flashforge is competing on both features and price. That's impressive. So let me know if you have any questions about this machine. Hopefully I'll do more videos where I compete with this one, for example, towards the P1S, the A1 combo, and we have other printers coming as well. So I have these YouTube shorts where I'm trying to do 1v1 print with printers to print the same file, same like default settings, the same type of material, and you get to see the results, the times, and all like that. So make sure you subscribe for that. And also stick around to learn more about 3D printing, technology, and design. My name is Anton, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.